Hi, this is Haiyang, and I'm going to present my FSE chat room application. The purpose is to create a real-time chat application where the users can chat to each other at real time, meaning all the chat messages are updated directly, and also all the chat histories will be persisted in the database. Let's have a demo of the application. First of all, a user has to register. If they try to log in with a username and password that's not registered, meaning not saved in database, they're going to be prompted an error message like this. So now let's register a new user called Haiyang. Then let's log in. Once you log in, you are directed to the chat room page. Because nothing has been posted, the chats are empty. So now let's say something. So if you post some new messages, they're going to be appended below the previous chat message, like this. And because only one person doesn't make it a chat room, you have to have multiple people, right? So let's create a new user called Dennis. You can see once Dennis logs in, he can see all the previous chat messages posted by Haiyang because all the chat histories will be retrieved from the database when a new user logs in. Let's make Dennis say something. If you go back to the chat page for Haiyang, you can see Haiyang can immediately see the chat message posted by Dennis. So this is the real-time dynamic update of the chat messages. So let's say Haiyang exits the chat room and log in back. It will also retrieve all the previous chat histories for Haiyang. So that's the end of the demo. Let's take a look at the technologies used in this application. I used the good old combination of the web stack, HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. In addition to CSS, I used Bootstrap for some better styling of the user interface. I used EGS as compared to Jade because I find it easier to pick up. I used the jQuery to manipulate the data and also for submitting the form basically data manipulation in the HTML page. On the server side, I use the Node.js with Express framework, and I use underscore to convert the database query results into an array of dictionaries where a dictionary has multiple key value pairs. I use Socket.io for the client to server communication of the chat messages, which we will show you later. And I use MySQL for the database. So now let's have a look at the code structure. The app.js is the main entry point of the whole application. It has multiple routes, which handles different functions of the application. This one directs you to the index page. The user/login and the user/register handles the logging in and registering functionalities of the user, including query from database and saving user login information into the database, and also redirecting to the chat room page if the user logs in correctly, which is defined here. This is to redirect to the chat room page. And you can see that I have separated, I've moved all the database transactions into a new file called database.js. So this contains all the database queries that I need to make. And I've exported all the functions and referenced that in the database in the app.js. so that they can be conveniently called and without making my app.js looks too cumbersome. And there are two pages I will show you, which is the login form, which is the page you've seen here. So this is the code behind the login form with two fields and two user actions. And for the chat room page, that's defined here. So you can see when the user posts something, as in they submit the form, it's going to emit the chat message into the server. So once the server receives the chat message, it's going to save the chat into the database and send the chat message back to the client. And the client, once they receive the chat message, is going to append the new chat message in the UI. In addition, the server also load the entire chat history and send it to the client via this chat history emit. And when the client receives it, it's going to iteratively load all the chat messages and display them in the UI. So that's the end of my presentation. Thanks for your time.